Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to another weekly review on British pounds, American dollar. Once again, it's your host, Bearable King. I welcome you to the month of June. We've been doing this for 5 months now, and by the grace of God, we've been going harder and harder and harder and harder. Currently, we're about 4 weeks. No, now makes it 3 weeks. We're about 3 weeks from the middle of the year, meaning that we're about 49% complete on the task that we set at the beginning of the year. How have you been? I hope you've been great, and I hope you have been well. All right, fantastic. So, as usual, I'll go to my first recording, which has to do with a charge, right? A charge. And the reason why this is important for me is because it helps us understand things that we're going through from a different perspective. All right. So today I'll be taking my word from the book of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 36 to 46. Now, I don't have to read everything. I'm just going to skim through. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I just want to pick out some points, right? And here, we'll start with verse 36. It says, Then Jesus with his disciples went to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, Sit here while I go over there to pray. And he took Peter and the two sons of Zebedee along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Now, the reason why he's sorrowful and troubled is because he knows that this is a defining moment of his life. Now, for most people who don't know the Bible, this was the night before Jesus Christ was arrested and he was taken to Calvary, where he eventually died, right? So he knew what was coming, so he was sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me, right? Going a little further, he fell on the face. He fell with his face to the ground and prayed, Father, if it's possible, let this cup be taken from me. Yet, not as I will, but as you will. Why is this part important? Now, I'll tell you something. In life, for those that are great and for those that are non-entities, right, there's usually a defining moment where you would have to, everything in your body would say, okay, let this thing just pass. I don't want to experience this thing. But for those that eventually become great, there's usually a defining moment where they would have to face that thing head on. And most of the time, you will know ahead of time that, okay, there's this problem I have to face. And after this problem, I don't think I'll have a bigger problem in this lifetime, okay? Then he returned to the disciples and found them sleeping. Couldn't you men keep watch for me for 1 hour? He asked Peter. Watch and pray so that you do not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Why is this part important? I like to tell you something. When you start facing those major life-changing troubles of life, understand this, like Jesus Christ, you're going to face them alone. You will have people, but you will find out that you can't really depend on people. And that's when you have to actually depend on God, right? That's when you have to depend on God. At that period, people will want to help you, but they really can't help you. I can speak from experience because I've been in places where I felt like, man, let the ground just open and swallow me. But eventually, I decided to stay true, and I made it through, right? The second time he went to pray and said, Father, is it possible for this cup to pass me? Right? Or be taken away from me. Unless I drink it, may your will be done. You know, I believe that everybody understands that there is a spiritual aspect to this life, right? I personally believe that the spiritual controls the physical. So, for me, there are some things that I have to go through, and I just have to find solace in the fact that it's God's will for me to go through those things. You understand? Maybe some people have lost some very loved ones and they felt like they can't cope. But understand that it's the will of God. Maybe there is a contract that you're hoping for and the contract failed at the last moment. It's the will of God. Just believe. You understand? Hold on to that belief that it's the will of God for that cup to pass you over, okay? When he came back, he found them sleeping. So he left them and went and prayed once more, right? If you notice, at this point he did not wake them up because he had come to a realization that, okay, what he's about to go through, he's going to go through it alone. Now, why am I sharing this? I know a lot of people, I've also been in that situation where I'll tell myself that, oh, more, if I can just get out of this mess, I will never, you get. But I'm speaking out today to tell you that don't have that mindset, because when you're going through your darkest hours, when you're going through your biggest problems, when you're going through your biggest challenges, one, it's going to feel impossible. But the reason why you're going through it is because you're the only one capable of going through it. Secondly, you're going to go through it alone. So don't be offended and say, oh, they were not there when I was suffering. Forgive and let it go, okay? I'm just letting that out because a lot of people are carrying some baggages that they shouldn't be carrying, all right? Okay, so let's go to the chart quickly because I did a training session, and after the training session, I was exhausted. If you're not my Telegram group, please check the description and join the Telegram group. It's for your benefit. I think I'm going to be doing more from June till December on the Telegram group, while I'll maintain this YouTube video on the weekly basis. Right? All right. So let's look at this chart. We know that the market was bullish. We spoke about this bearish move, and now we have a bullish move, right? Now, there's something I need you to understand. There are candlestick patterns that are respected every time, okay? So, for example, we had this market come down to this point, right? And then I did mention that the market did this, right? Pulled back and then ran to the upside. Now, why am I showing you this? I'm showing you this because it is very, very important for you to have a narration of what the market is doing. And I said, now that the market has created a new high, I'm anticipating that the market will pull back, right? That was what I said last week. And I mentioned here that I was expecting the market to drop. But guess what happened? Rather than the market dropping, the market ran to the upside. This was Monday, gave a bullish candle. Tuesday, we had a shooting star. And Wednesday, we had a bearish engulfing candlestick. Now, this setup is what we call an evening star. This, right? This is an evening star. It's a reversal pattern. The same way we had a bearish candle, like a hammer, and then a bullish engulfing. So this is called a morning star, right? It's the candlestick narration of showing that the market is doing what? Changing direction. It's the same thing that we have over here too, right? So it is always present in the market. So seeing this, I'm expecting that this market, most likely this week, is going to be bearish. Where am I expecting it to come down to? Now, this is the first demand zone that the market has not respected yet, right? And the reason why I'm marking this demand zone is because before the market is going to come down to this demand zone, I would be anticipating that the market has to break this level first. So for this week, I would like to see this market do what? Come down to this point, right? And remember that we've already mentioned that because of this pullback here, we're expecting that the market is bullish because we had a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high. So here I'm expecting a pullback to this zone to make a higher low and then what? A higher high. Okay? Right? So this is my expectation on the higher time frame, right? So I'm expecting the market to do what? Come here, bounce, and move up, right? Now, what I'm going to do now is I'll go to the 4-hour time frame to show you what I'm expecting on the lower time frame. Now, for those that are on my Telegram page, I marked this order block zone last week, and I said the market has come to tap into this area, right, which gave the room for the sell, right? Now, aside from that, for a lot of people who know about trading and patterns, you know that there is a 1, 2, 3 setup, which the market has already created here doing 1, right, 2, and then the market came up here and did 3. So what I was actually expecting was the market should break below this level, pull up to this zone, which was where there was an order block, and then do what? Come down, right? So I actually expected this during the week, which I posted in the group. But what happened was the market didn't create a new low below this level. As you can see, this low was not invalidated. And since the low was not invalidated, it simply tells me that the market is still in a form of correction within here and here. This is the last low, this is the last high from last week, right? So except this market breaks above this high, I'm still expecting it to break below this level. Now, if you look here, we had the market drop from here to this point. Then the market did 1, 2, 3, which seems like a bearish flag, right? For those who understand candlestick patterns. So I have a bearish flag here, which I can clone and transfer up here, right? As you can see that, let me remove this so that you see how clear it is, right? You can see that the market is respecting this zone. So what am I expecting? I'm anticipating that the market is here, it pulled back here, tapped into this zone right here, and now it will come back to somewhere around here and then push up one more time. Now, why am I expecting somewhere up here? It's simply because we have a zone here that has really not been mitigated, right? Let me just use a color. So let me use blue, right? So I'm anticipating that the market may come tap into this zone, right? Then from here, I'd like to see the market break below this level. 1, break below the trend. 2, create a lower low. Once it does that, if it pulls up, I'll be looking for a sell below this level, right? Now, let me explain this explicitly for people to understand. Now, once the market has broken this level, it is possible that this market has broken it. It will now pull back to somewhere around here and then do what? Drop down to this level. So from here, I'll now be looking for a change in direction before I would be looking for a buy. It's as simple as that. I don't think there's anything that is missing from my expectation. So this is what I'm expecting for this week. I'm expecting that the market is going to be bullish, but there's a possibility that the market may tap into the zone before breaking this trend. Then the pullback is where I'll take my first sell down to this zone. Then from here, I could look for a counter trend reversal to pull back and then ride the market down. Okay, so I hope the information I've shared has been profitable. I'm sorry if the video is coming in a bit late. There's a bit of noise in my background. I'm not sure if it's sounding, but that's because one of my neighbors is doing a party. You know, in this life, we always have to celebrate one thing or the other, regardless of how life is or how difficult life can be. Okay, so till next week, I remain Bear King. Remain safe and remain blessed. Bye bye.